俺は二人を無理やり説得して作戦を続行させたんだ。俺は英雄になりたかった。誰かに尊敬されたかった。俺が悪いんだよ。お前の母親が巨人に食われたのは。
やっぱり俺はお前と同じだ。俺は進み続ける。敵を駆逐するまで。
パラディ島勢力へ宣戦布告は。
What's up, everybody? Pepperonin here, bringing you an Attack on Titan video, something a little bit different. I just wanted to try out something for the channel, talking about anime. If this is something you guys are interested in, I'll for sure do more of this in the future because I'm not super deep down the rabbit hole of anime. I just started Demon Slayer, but you know, I got my shonens that I like. I got my shows that I really enjoy watching, and would love to talk about it. But I'm making this video 5 days after Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 6 aired, Declaration of War. I've been thinking about doing a video every day since it came out, and just due to time constraints, I just wasn't really able to. I'm doing a lot of stuff right now, and I'm streaming every night. I'm uploading gameplay separate from the streaming every day, on top of working, you know, a 40 to 50 hour a week job, top of having other responsibilities. But I'm making time for this. I know it's kind of late to the party, but I wanted to get it out before the next episode comes out because I want to just talk about just the insanity that was this last episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of anime in general, not just Attack on Titan. It's one of my favorite. I think that this was a masterclass in tension building. I mean, the tension that was palpable. You could cut it with a knife, and so you've all seen it at that point. If you're here, you've probably seen the episode. I'm going to recap it just really quick, just to get you up to speed. So it came off the heels of a 1 week hiatus. They took the New Year's off, and so it was a 2 week wait. And the last episode was really good too, but kind of going back to give some context to what happened here. You know, this season opened up after the big mind-blowing reveal last season that not only were the people on Paradise Island not the last of humanity like they thought, not only are all of them a race called Eldians that can all be transformed into Titans, but that the rest of the world is so much bigger and is full of technologically advanced compared to them people and nations that all wanted to kill them because they are capable of doing that, and they're scared of Eldians because Eldians used to rule the world and use their Titan shifting abilities to massacre untold scores of people. And I just thought of a theory. I'm going to have to make a whole separate follow-up video about this. But so after all these reveals and after finding out, you don't get to see too much of the world. You get to see where Eren's father Grisha came from, the specific area that he was in. You can see a bustling city and stuff like that, but you don't get to see kind of the full scope of the world. That's what season 4's opening does. So it completely takes you away from the main cast that you've grown to know over the last 3 seasons, and it puts you in the shoes of the Marleyans, which are the people that control what used to be Eldia. They're a main faction of humanity that is partially responsible for Paradise Island residents being confined to the island. They were the main force that was fighting Eldia. The king, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to stop talking there, but because this will come later. But anyways, a long story short, Eldia is the biggest military power in the world because they control pretty much all of the Titan shifters at this point in time, all of the known Titan shifters, besides the Founding Titan and the Attack Titan. Oh, now the Colossal Titan, they lost that to last season, but the Founding Titan's the one that they really want because that'll let them control all the Titans that are inside the walls, which we learn there's tens of millions of them, because they're getting to the point where technology's catching up to the Titans and they're not the deciding factor they were anymore. There's entire anti-Titan weapon classes and military and all that stuff. So so you see these young recruits that are going to be the replacements for Reiner, Bertholdt, for all of the current Titan shifters. You see kind of the next generation in training. They're kind of in the same position that, Eren and Reiner and all the others were at the beginning of the series. And you see them in the middle of a war. I mean, it's pretty crazy. There's people getting hit by bullets. There's PDA. I mean, they show kind of people's psyches collapsing, which I think is really good for a show that's so... I mean, that's something else that Attack on Titan's really good at is showing the psychological damage that horror can do to people. You have horror like the Titans, but also just war in general. You have people that are just you can't put them back together again. Anyways, so you've been following these characters all season. So far, it has not really broken from these characters' perspective. It did a little bit towards the tail end of the last episode, but it's mostly been following this new set of characters, these Marleyans, to show you what kind of people they are. And they're just people. It humanizes them. It shows you that the world's not black and white. There's good and bad on both sides. But at the end of the day, they're all people, and a lot of them are unwilling participants in a greater scheme by a handful of people calling all the shots. Anyways, so building off of this, one of the new characters that's introduced, Falco, he's trying to become the next Armored Titan. And so this character, Kruger, whose name should definitely run some bells as soon as he was introduced, he's an partial amputee. He's got one leg. He's got missing an eye. He's got crutches. He keeps meeting up with Falco, sitting on his park bench and telling him he has letters he wants to send to his family, because the military will check and maybe even confiscate the letters, and he doesn't want that to happen. He just wants his family to see them. So he asked Falco to do it since he's an honorary Marleyan. And being really young, Falco's just really happy to help this injured guy and help out him with his family. So he's happy to send the letters. He makes a point of doing it every day after talking with him. Well, while all this is happening, Willy Tybur, the head of the Tybur family, the only really powerful Eldian family outside of Paradise Island, they control the Marleyan military, essentially. They control the government. They're allowed free reign to do basically whatever they please because a secret member of their family that's not disclosed has the Warhammer Titan. We don't know too many details about it other than the fact that it's a Titan shifter. That's kind of a big deal on its own. And the fact that the Marleyan government doesn't know which Tybur family member it is, it'd be too difficult to assassinate them. A coup would be too hard to pull off. And so the Tyburs kind of escape the persecution that the rest of the Eldians face. But it seems like this is weighing heavily, and not just that, but the secrets about how they got there weighs heavily on the figurehead leader of the family, Willy Tybur. He alludes to this multiple times in the episodes leading up to episode 6, just about how he can feel it. He can feel the control. He can feel that they're losing the control and that he needs to hold on to it. He doesn't want to, but he needs to. He's scared. He's feeling a bunch of different things at once. He's very conflicted. But one thing that he doesn't seem very conflicted about is making sure the rest of the world knows the truth about how Paradise Island got to be the way it is. And he invites, last episode, in episode 5, he invited basically all the ambassadors of all the major superpowers of the rest of the world from this war that they just ended to come and see his first ever theater production to learn the truth. And of course there was multiple facets to it, but it's very interesting because all of the major figureheads of the government, all the military leaders, all the generals, all the ambassadors to other countries, very powerful people, all clustered together to hear what Willie has to say. And he starts with basically admitting that it wasn't that the King Fritz, the one that had the founding titan that went to Paradise Island in the first place, it wasn't that he was fought or drove back there or anything. He went there willingly because he was tired of his people slaughtering the rest of the world. He felt so guilty about it that he felt that the Eldian sins could never be forgiven, and even said that if Marley ever wanted the founding titan, they could just come get it, basically. He did threaten to trample the world with tens of millions of titans, but that was a very empty threat. In fact, he implanted, and this was all the way back at the beginning of Season 3, almost, that this was revealed, he implanted his will into every future successor of the founding titan, that there will be peace, that they will not raise a hand against the rest of the world, and that they will wipe the memories of the people every so often to make sure that they don't find out about the rest of the world. It's not until the coup that happens and that Eren ends up getting the founding titan, where he's not bound by royal blood, he doesn't have any drive to be peaceful like that. There's nothing keeping him peaceful. That dynamic changes. And so Willie Tybur describes all this to these people. These people thought that a lone warrior, Helos, slayed the founding titan, and that they drove back King Fritz to Paradise Island, and you know, now they're finding out that at any time they could be trampled by tens of millions of colossal titans, not regular titans, colossal titans. So he's talking about this, about how horrible this is, about how horrible Eldia was to people before, and then he kind of tells them that he wants to live. He originally wanted all of his people to die, but he wants to live because he was born into this world. Now, while all this is going on, right at the start of the festival, Falco pulls Reiner aside and says, "Hey, you have a friend who's waiting for you downstairs who hasn't seen you in a long time." So he goes down and and it's the guy that's missing a leg and missing an eye. It's Eren Yeager, and they recognize each other. Falco doesn't know what's going on, and Eren basically points to the people up above them, saying, you know that there's multiple stories of innocent people, and when he makes that gesture up towards the roof, you can see his hand is bleeding. His fingers are dug into his hand. Reiner sees this, and he knows shit's about to go down. Falco still doesn't quite understand what's going on. He thought that Eren was Reiner's friend, and so Reiner tells him to just sit down and do what he says. And at that point, Falco's like, maybe I fucked up here. But so Eren continues talking. He asks Reiner why his mother got eaten by a titan. Reiner has a complete mental breakdown. At one point he is groveling and asking Eren to kill him. He's crying, telling him it's his fault that Aaron's mom got eaten because he wanted to keep going with the mission. That as soon as Marcel got eaten, Bertholdt and Annie wanted to abandon it. He told them to keep going. He convinced them to keep going. He basically forced them to keep going through with the mission. And so they did. They pushed themselves, and they were kids. And you could see how horrified they were at their own actions. And then they talked to this guy who abandoned his own children to get away from the Titans and felt so guilty about it. He told them the story and then hung himself later. And so you see flashbacks to them as kids arguing about why he told them that story right before hanging himself. Annie thinks maybe he wanted to be forgiven. Bertholdt said maybe he wanted somebody to judge him. Reiner tells him to just kind of abandon it, just let it go. But this entire episode is just building. And so this is interlaced with Willie Tyber's speech to the world, revealing crucial elements of the world that they're living in while this conversation with Reiner is happening right underneath their feet, and they don't even know it. And so at the point that Willie Tyber says he wants to live because he was born into this world, that mirrors something that Aaron says earlier in the series, and his eyes even widen when he hears it. And when Reiner tells him to just kill him, Aaron basically tells him, no, I used to view you guys as the enemy. Because Reiner even says he recalls when Aaron said he was going to make them suffer in the worst possible way. Aaron brushes it aside, basically. He's like, oh yeah, I guess I did say that. But he doesn't really care. He tells Reiner that he's come to understand that these people, that the Eldians, the Marlians, that there's some jerks, there's some horrible people, but there's also good people. And he kind of gestures at Falco like, yeah, this is one of them. He's a good kid. And Falco is also coming to the realization that he really messed up, and he's like, but I trusted you. And Aaron apologizes, and he's like, well, what about those letters? What about the letters that you were sending your family? And Reiner's face, you can see he already knows where this is going. And Aaron tells him that his family didn't receive the letters, but his comrades did. And while they're talking, you get to see a guard that leads two more of the Titan Shifters away, Peak and Porco. They're the Jaw Titan and the Cart Titan, respectively. I think I got them swapped. But they get led away, and then they get trapped. They get led into a room, and the guard goes back to the door, and they're like, what's going on? This is an empty room. And then a trap door opens, so they're basically thrown into a pit, and they can't transform because it's too small. So they're out for this fight. And you get a couple glimpses at the character. I think it's pretty obviously Armin, but he's way taller than he was before, and he's got a beard now, so that's pretty crazy. If it is Armin, he looks completely different. The thing that gave it away for me was the blonde hair under his hat, and the hairstyle that he had looks a lot like his old hair. But so bunch of stuff happens. The military, the leader of Marley's military, McGath, I think it was. He's trying to make sure he can sense something's going down. So he tells his guards, even if it seems super insignificant, tell me as soon as you see it. Tell me everything. He wants to be on top of this. Well, he gets told that, two of the Titan Shifters are gone. They're missing. Zeke goes out to investigate and see what's going on. And so, right, all this stuff is all culminating with Willie essentially saying he's declaring war. He's galvanizing all of these people that they were just fighting, the rest of the world, to basically say, hey, we are going to war with Paradise, with these island devils. I don't even like the Eldian people, but we have to do this to save ourselves because they're coming at us with tens of millions of Titans. He gets them roaring and cheering, and right as he declares war, Aaron stands up and, he says that while Reiner is having his mental breakdown, that that he, I guess that we are alike. We are the same after all. Neither of us stops at anything until our enemies are destroyed, and that's when he transforms. And Reiner goes to Shield Falco. So don't know how successful that was. We'll find out next week, I think. But he transformed, and there's just this amazing juxtaposition as Willie's declaring war, and as soon as he says it, Eren just bursts out of the wall, killing at least dozens of innocent people in the process. Women, children, babies. Like Eren just ended a bunch of lives, and looks like he ripped Willie Tybur in half right after Willie said that he didn't want to die, which I think is funny. The memes about how Reiner's like, I just kill me, and Eren says no. Willie Tybur says I want to live, and then Eren's eyes glow green. He's like, so you have chosen death, So he tosses him up in the air. Looks like he's completely ripped in half. I don't think he's the Warhammer Titan, because if he was, he would have transformed before he got ripped in half. I think he just died. We'll know for sure in a few days when the next episode comes out, but I'm pretty sure Willie Tybur is just dead. But what we do know, based on the preview, is that the Warhammer Titan does appear to stop Eren's rampage, because he's just out for blood. Essentially, Eren is doing exactly to Reiner what he did to Eren in Season 1, in the first episode. Just this completely unforeseen attack that came out of nowhere, had no way of seeing it coming, and causing tons of people around him to die. And I think it's just really interesting that Reiner was the product of everything wrong with the Marleyan government, the way of doing things, and the persecution of the Eldians. Reiner was a complete product of all the hatred, all the propaganda, and everything just shoveled into one human child, and then sent over to do the same thing essentially to Eren. So because of all of these atrocities and everything going on, and Marley's just lust for power and their greed, they created the situation where, well, now, after what they did to Reiner, now Eren has been fully radicalized and is coming back. So they have everything that's coming to them. It's unfortunate for the innocent people that have absolutely no part and no say in this. And Eren even acknowledges, before he does the deed, that that there's a lot of people that they don't have any control over this. And it sucks to, that he can acknowledge that but still go through with his actions. But I think that really says something about his character, and it makes it really hard to pin down, say a character's strictly good or bad, because Eren recognizes the consequences of what he's doing, but he also understands that he kind of has to do something because the rest of the world wants to kill him. So, crazy episode. I'm excited to see how this fight turns out. I'm excited to see what the other characters are doing, what they're up to. I think it would make sense so my prediction, if they're, continuing their attack like this, I think either Armin is going to transform into Colossal, and inflict as many casualties as possible to get their attention, so that Eren can either attack the Warhammer Titan, escape, or go after one of the other Titans, for example, the ones that are trapped, that they know where they are. I don't know if this is like a strike and then a tactical retreat. I'm also wondering about I'm not even gonna guess, just the Asian lady who was talking to Willie, who seemed really close with him. The one that protected one of the recruits who spilled wine on her dress, on her kimono, and she covered for him. She talked to Willie, and they seemed very, very close. Her clan seemed very appreciative of Willie's work and of his achievements. She leaves before any of this starts, and the show makes it a point to show her leaving So I don't know if maybe she was involved with this and maybe fed some intel to Eren and to the Paradisians. I don't know what they're called. That would be pretty interesting if that were true, if they'd actually already been making alliances behind Marley's back, because, Marley's been just flexing their Titan muscles for so long. And the whole reason that they were going after Paradise was because they were losing their military dominance they had before. It would make sense if some of these other countries aren't exactly comfortable with being under the heel of that country as longer than they had to be. So I think that they've already made some secret alliances. I think that's going to get revealed either the next episode or one of the ones right after. And then it's just war from there. And so I honestly don't know how this is going to go. It could go a million different directions. The type of show that Attack on Titan is, all I can really say for sure is I don't think it's going to have a happy ending. Just how everything has been leading up to this, I can't see this show having a happy ending that's satisfying. I want a happy ending for a lot of these characters, but I just don't think it'll happen. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you've seen it already, do not spoil it. I will ban you. But if you have any predictions, let me know. I'm going to make some other follow-up videos, I think, just about what I think is going to happen. I have a theory about the Ackermans and Mikasa that I just realized because of the way that the aliens work, but I'll wait to get into that later. But yeah, anyways, for right now, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And if you're new to the channel, if you're watching this video, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I upload daily gaming content. If this gets a lot of attention, I'll do more of these as well. Kind of had some fun making this video. But yeah, just subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next video.